Hey everybody, and good now, revolutionaries. It's time to wake up and smell the crypto. This is the Rise Up Morning Show, because whether you listen morning, noon, or night, it's morning somewhere, my friends, which means it's time, baby. It's time to get up and go. I've got my coffee here. I have got Read Right owned by Chris Dixon, and we are kicking off a whole new format for the show. I'm so excited about it. You're like, Evan, why are you excited? You're always so excited. It's so early. How do you do it? The secret is having some coffee, having a little bit of warmth going in your bones, and then having something you are excited to talk about. And so today, I am excited to tell you that we are kicking off the Monday through Thursday format of the Rise Up Morning Show. Theme weeks, yes, thematic weeks of content. We are going to take a big topic across the space and break it down day by day, so that whether you're just like blockchain curious or you are a pro who's been working or living here in the neighborhood, hanging out with me and Alex for a long time, you're going to get something out of this. It's something no show I know is doing. Alex and I are so excited about it, and we can't wait for you to give us your feedback on this format. Alex is going to be here in a second, but while we wait for him, let me tell you that my name is Evan Mann. I am a co-founder of Faceless Labs, and along with my colleague, co-founder Alex Popovich, we are here to help you understand the new internet. The technology that is coming is going to do unprecedented things for everyday people like us, who are not too technical ourselves. But if you want to take advantage of it, you've got to know a little bit of stuff. That's what we're here for. Our community, the Faceless Many, is named for the average future technology to rise up and write a better, more egalitarian future. We're building a movement, and you are invited, my friends. Alex, my brother, welcome to the show. How are you doing? It sounds like you're playing the spoons on your desk. Can you hear me? Are you with us? Well, while we wait for him, let me tell you that you can catch us Monday through Thursday now, right here, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. UTC. And of course, you can join us in the Discord. It's always going to be free. We'll share links and things like that in there. We'll talk about markets. Hey, there he is. At discord.gg/the-many. Web3 Jim asks, what are we talking about today? And if you just missed it or you're just tuning in, the topic is Web3 101. Alex and I are going to go over some housekeeping. We're going to do some headlines. I'm going to give him a second to introduce himself, and then we're going to jump right into it. This week, we are switching to a new format. Instead of doing a show Tuesday and a show Thursday and doing the news and talking about it, we'll still do some news and headlines, but our goal is to unpack a broad theme every week, so that whether you're tuning in live right now, asking your questions, or you're tuning in the future on YouTube, you can have something to really grab onto, a conversation that will be relevant to you. With Web3 101, we're going to unpack what is a blockchain. We're going to unpack the past, present, and future of the internet. We're going to look at some case studies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then we're going to talk about our predictions for the future. And of course, we're going to answer your questions along the way. Ahead of this week, we'll be doing things like gaming, DeFi. We're going to talk about security and ethics one week. We hope to have a couple of different guests in. Towards April, we'll talk about the Bitcoin halving, and so on and so forth. So, just let us know what you want to know, and we'll dive into it. Alex, man, how are you?
What's up, dude? Good to go.
Good to see you. I like your corner that you've got there going on now. You're switching it up.
I completely rotated the whole office. I have to rearrange the furniture once or twice a year, or I lose my mind. And so that is what I have done. So used to be over in that corner. So turned that into the plant corner, moved everything over here, and now I have a little bit more interesting of a backdrop.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of bookshelves and corners.
Oh yeah, and this is now I have to build one over in that corner. Now that it's not, there's nothing in it. It's a little empty and forlorn over there.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, it's good to be here with you. It's good to be here with Robbie. Good to be here with Jim. I know it's the crack of night and day where he is in New Zealand. So thanks for tuning in. And everybody who's getting used to this new format. Jim, you're asking, you said you want to see us play good cop, bad cop and break down some projects. I agree. We love doing that. That's like our favorite thing to do. So what we kind of have thought with this new format, let me give it to you, and we're amenable to changes, is that each week we'll start with kind of a preview and ask everybody for their projects that they want to see related to the theme. And that as we dive into it, like unpack it Monday, get up to speed together. Tuesday, we can kind of do some deep dives examples. And then we certainly could highlight projects then, but we also really want Wednesday and Thursday to be much more of like okay, now we're all up to speed, gang. Here are the projects you've asked about throughout the week. Now that we know everything we need to know, we're going to rip them apart, kind of thing. But Jim, if you have projects that you want us to do, either send them in the Discord, leave them as a comment here. We're taking notes. This week, Alex and I were talking last night. We want to get into specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum. We want to unpack those two networks, because it's been a while since we've really, and I don't know that on our show we really have ever just broken them down step by step for people.
I had an idea, and of course I had the idea almost as soon as we were done talking last night and coordinating, planning the week out. But I think that what prompted this was a headline. I did find a headline, so we'll touch on one briefly. But I think it would be neat, especially for this week with the intro week, to Bitcoin and Ethereum are no-brainers. Gotta cover them, gotta at least touch on them. Biggest projects in the space by far, no contest, right? I think it would be interesting to come up with the next three, in your opinion, in my opinion, not like top 5 by market cap, but just like top 5 most influential. I feel like we probably pick mostly the same ones. For whatever reason, maybe we'll get some variety, but like whatever most impactful or biggest, most important, like if you are tuning in, these are the 5 that we think you should at least be aware of and have like a vague understanding of, the ones you're probably going to see the most of or whatever. I think that could be interesting, and we just compare and contrast, and we don't necessarily need to do a deep dive in all of them, especially if we have a bunch of different ones, because that would be lengthy. But it could be cool to do like an intro. Why do you see this one all the time? What's the big deal? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I just wrote that down. I think that's fantastic. And so before we get into the headlines today, I do want to tell you about something that we have coming your way, which is, now that we're doing the expanded format, now that we've got a lot of folks tuning in, something that we wanted to do that we've done before when we were in the Twitter days, is we want to give you a gift for tuning in. We wouldn't ask you to come here and waste all your time with us and hang out if we weren't going to give you something in return. And so what we have for you, I'm going to preview here today, is called a POAP. It is a type of NFT that Alex is going to tell you about in a second, but it's going to come with your very own piece of exclusive collectible artwork from the show, from me and Alex, as a gift to you. And Alex, if you're in a place where you can tell them, I would love for you to tell them how we do POAPs here on the show. How can they get their very own POAP NFT before I show them this marvelous piece of art?
So POAPs are pretty cool. A POAP is a way to memorialize the fact that you did a thing by putting proof of the thing on chain. So they use NFT technology. We get to upload a piece of artwork. It's completely free. You do not need to have any crypto wallets or any seed phrases. You don't need to be into the whole world. You don't need to have all this bananas bonkers security. You can. There are options for that. But you don't need any of it. All you have to do is download the POAP app, which, Evan, I'm pretty sure, I'll confirm here in a second, but if you just search POAP in the App Store, you'll find it.
That's exactly right.
And right there on the homepage, you set up a quick little free account kind of thing. It creates a wallet for you that they take care of and manage until you're ready to assume custody of it, if you even ever get there. And then there's a couple different ways you can claim. You can either do a QR scan, you can do a secret phrase, you can do a passcode. Some people can share links. But anyway, we're going to do secret phrase, I believe, Evan. Is that what we're doing? So you just click secret phrase, type in the phrase, and it's going to give you the thing, and that's it. That's all there is to it.
That's right. You can claim your very own POAP. And check this guy out. This is the sick POAP we're doing first. This awesome zombie with this cup of, is it blood or is it coffee? I don't know.
Or is it both?
Man.
As quoted by the adorable little girl in the taco commercial, ¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? Indeed. Siempre, my friend. So, to sum up, you're going to listen for the secret word. You're going to visit our Discord, discord.gg/themany. There's a channel called the Bot Hub where what you do is you click a little button that says POAP, you type in the secret word, and you, yes, you can claim one of these POAPs for your very own. They're limited. There are only so many. We're going to do one a week, and you're going to hear a secret word every day that you will combine with the next secret word. So if you miss tomorrow's show, don't despair. Come back to the Discord and just, talk to people. What's the secret word? See if they'll give it to you. Talk to people in the chat right here. This is it's a fun way for us to just keep track of who's been around. When we were doing POAPs on Twitter, we had people collect them all. We did some secret words, some extra secret POAPs. And the great thing about this, like all NFTs, is you can attach any kind of future utility to it you want. It establishes a great relationship between us, though. And we're in the business of building community here. So we would love for you to get your very own POAP. And with that, my friend, you said you did find a headline, huh? We got a little headline?
Sort of. Yep.
Okay, well, in lieu of a rapid-fire news bumper, let me just kick it over to you. I was having a soundboard issue today, but I will have it ready for you tomorrow if we got a good headline. What's on the docket today on the headlines before we get into Web3 101?
Well, so the reason we weren't going to do too much news today is honestly just because there's not really that much interesting stuff going on. This is one of those things. You can tell when you open up the news headlines for the day and it's a whole bunch of fluffy nonsense about price predictions and stuff that, okay, nothing big happened this, today or whatever. It's okay. We'll come back tomorrow. We can do something else today. But today I saw this interesting headline, which is just Ripple's XRP services to go live in the United States. And of course, that got the click out of me. And of course, the deeper dive here is that it is simply an announcement that they're going to be expanding services to the US. But I highlighted it for two reasons. One, it's interesting because 90+% of Ripple's business is done outside of the US right now. So this is a pretty big step for them if it actually goes through and they're able to start doing that. But two, because given the tumultuous past between XRP, Ripple, and I should say Ripple, not XRP, Ripple, the company.
Sure.
And the SEC, this is kind of the first big indication that we are like, nature is healing and we are moving forward, which is very encouraging and very cool to see. And I'm stoked for Ripple because whether you're an XRP fan or not, whether you hold it or not, stuff like this is a big deal. And a big company like Ripple taking a stab to start doing, blockchain or Web3 related business in the United States is a big deal. Especially because this company, Ripple, plans to IPO at some point, I'm sure. It would be weird if they didn't. There's a lot of buzz and chatter about that. Be careful with that, though, because there's a lot of people who have some really weird, rumor mill flying content about, how you buy into the IPO now and, buying some crypto that's going to translate to, IPO shares in the future, or it's worth it to become an accredited investor so you can start doing just be a little skeezed out by some of that because there's a lot of passion in the XRP community, and some of that is not always helpful. And that is not isolated to XRP. That goes for absolutely any cryptocurrency that has an overly sycophantic or dedicated fan base that is not willing to accept the downsides and only pushes positives or hype news, right?
Yeah.
This by itself is a cool enough announcement that we don't need to hype it up. Like it's a big deal, regardless. If they don't go through with it or they're not able to, it's still a big step to make the attempt. And if they do, then that's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
and spoiler alert, as I'm sure Evan would agree, XRP, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 most impactful, influential cryptocurrencies ever.
Yeah.
Um,
Certainly.
so this kind of sets the stage a little bit for what is going to be one of the ones that we definitely talk about and introduce this week and kind of give the broad overview of, because I think it's just way too important to skip.
Now, let me ask you a very quick question. We agree that it's one of the most impactful cryptocurrencies ever, been around a long time. The story touches a lot of people. It has a very interesting network. The utility is interesting, what it plans to do. Do you hold it?
I do not. I never have, and I probably never will.
And I also don't hold it. Why, Alex? Why don't you hold it? If it's so impactful, it's so important, why wouldn't you?
2 reasons. One, and I understand this is a hot take. I get flamed for it all the time. I'm not bullshitting you. This is genuinely the truth. I refuse to invest in things that I don't like. Um, I do not invest in companies that do unethical things. I don't invest in things that I don't like. And XRP is a big corporate bankers project. I am interested in Web3 because of my disdain for the giant corporate banking industry. So it would make no sense for me to hop the fence and then start buying this crypto.
Yeah.
But 2, and to be honest, some of the things that the leadership of Ripple has said makes me think that this is more and more accurate. I don't think for XRP, like if they are truly successful and they really strike me as a project that's going to succeed at what it is that they're trying to do, there's just way too much money and power and passion behind the project. Um, I just think there's no way that it can rocket in price. Like it would become not usable by the clientele that they are hoping to get if the price was A, volatile, and B, really expensive. Because in order for anyone to, buy a lot of it and use it and transfer it, I mean, imagine a world where an international payment is trying to be facilitated between 2 governments. Okay, that's not a nothing burger. That's a big deal, right?
Huge.
And imagine a world wherein they're going to do that. It's going to be $1 billion worth of aid for a humanitarian effort or disaster relief or something, right? So it's $1 billion, and we purchase the asset in the billion. We begin the transaction process. We begin to get congressional approvals and all of the people who need to sign off on it, because you're never going to remove the middleman from government to government or cross-border payment. I'm sorry, you're just never going to do that. Maybe from citizen to citizen, but not from entity to entity. You never will. And then in the midst of doing all that, the price, rockets or dumps. And all of a sudden, it's not $1 billion anymore. Oh, we're not trying to send them $4 billion. And I just lost $500 million in this crater. Like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense. It would, if it was a stable coin, I would be all over it. It would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I think if you want a little bit of evidence that what I'm saying is not just nonsense, Ripple releases like $1 billion in supply every month on a regular basis, which is directly opposed to the idea of improving scarcity, right? It is meant to try to help equalize and stabilize the ecosystem so that their clientele doesn't get scared away by hypervolatility, in my humble opinion. So that's why.
Good answer. Good answer and good morning. I see a lot of people just joining us. I saw Dave just joined us. Hey, Dave. Hey, Desi. Did you see this comment from your resident banks? We use private networks, their own token, and not XRP. That's also a great hypothesis. We talk about it a lot on the show.
Yep.
But if you're just joining us, this week's theme, we are talking about Web3 101. The Rise Up Morning Show has shifted to a Monday through Thursday format. If you're just seeing us for the first time, hey, my name's Evan. His name is Alex. We are co-founders in the Web3 space. What the heck is Web3? It is the future internet. It relies on technology that seems intimidating, but that we want to unpack for you because it's going to matter to everyday people like us who are not too technical, and it's going to touch almost every aspect of our lives. So today we are unpacking this concept so that this week we can dive deep. We can talk about the different projects and people innovating in this space and why it matters to everyday folks like us personally. So join us here, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. I almost said 12 p.m. UTC. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Alex and I talk about this a lot, and we have talked about this a lot on the show. But I think you gave us a really good segue in terms of talking about a lot of people are interested in cryptocurrency because they are interested in making money as speculators, people who are betting that in the future the price of cryptocurrency assets will go up the way that stocks do. But our friend William Quigley, he said something in a conversation we had a while ago about how what is interesting about cryptocurrency, about blockchain networks, the technology that makes crypto possible, is that they're not just digital assets. We've had digital assets for decades. This is a technology we have never had. It is tokenized digital assets. Tokenized, essentially, in this context, it means a way to make something provably unique, to track it, to trace it, to assign other qualities to it. This has never happened before in the history of money, in the history of information on the internet. And so I think it will be helpful to set the table for this whole thing, to see where we're going, if we just talk very briefly about what the internet has been. So Alex, feel free to interrupt me here at any point, but I just want to give a very concise history of how this thing came together for people who may not know. This is going to set you up. I want you to understand, people. This is going to set you up more than what token should I buy. If you're interested in making money in crypto, if you're interested in setting yourself up for a better future, this is the information that will help you to do more than just gamble. It's going to help you see where we've been and probably where we're going. Also, Alex does have good taste in books. I do want to say to Stephanie, I've been there, I've seen it, tasted and seen. My brother's got it. Okay, so in the beginning of the internet, there were all of these people who were using computers, mostly in the government, mostly in universities, nerds in enclaves of niche communities who said, wouldn't it be great now that we have these machines if they could all talk to each other without anybody in the middle? Wouldn't that be great? That's what we've been trying to do with mail, with telephones, is connect people to people, helping each other communicate and coordinate so we can do more together. And in the beginning of the internet, the architecture that was created supported this. There were direct connections between machines on these networks. If you could get on the internet, if you had the technology, you could pretty much do anything you wanted. Now, to be fair, the technology was not that robust. Once you got there, there wasn't a lot you could do. You could search on the web, you could send an email, but it was kind of like a ghost town before electricity. A lot of people hadn't settled there yet. The people who had settled there yet, they didn't have a ton of resources collected. And it wasn't until what you might call the golden age of the internet, the late 1990s and early 2000s, that more and more people and companies started to come online and they built infrastructure so that there was stuff to do there. Now, not only could you go online and read information, but you could publish it. You could participate in creating it, even if you weren't a technical person. This is like MySpace. This is like Facebook. This is like eBay. When all of us could go online and do stuff that we might have done before in the physical world with people around the world. But here's the problem. In this iteration of the internet, which we are living in largely today, all the people who built the infrastructure, they stand between you and the thing you want to do or the people you want to connect with, and often they're taking some sort of cut. It might be monetary. You might have to pay a subscription. There might be a paywall to access stuff like the articles the New York Times publishes online. But it also might be obfuscated by difficult terms and conditions. When you sign up for a Facebook profile, you have to agree to a document that you really don't have any power to negotiate. and that makes you, the free user, the product. Facebook, Spotify, all these companies, TikTok, are learning about you with your consent, mostly uninformed, and they are profiting off what they learn in a way that makes you the product. We don't think that this is terribly fair, and the problem is that nobody now owns much of what they create on the internet. The most notable example of this is that you can be deplatformed. Alex, how many hours have you invested in TikTok alone, would you say?
Several thousand at least.
And you have tens of thousands of followers. You've got hundreds of videos, um, comments, messages, all stuff that really matters to your personal brand. And yet tomorrow, if TikTok decides arbitrarily that you have violated its terms of service, they can totally restrict your access from any of those things. If
Correct.
you want to open an account on Twitter, you got to start over from zero. You can't take your followers with you. You don't have a direct relationship with them. And so this next iteration of the internet that is coming is returning us to the true principles and values of the internet, where people will be able to own what they create online and express all the properties of ownership. If I earn a follower, it will be something I can store, that I can take with me without anyone's permission at all, rather than relying on an intermediary like Western Union to send money to someone across the world and playing by their rules and paying them a cut and waiting for 7 days. I will just be able to communicate directly and send information directly, whether that information is money, whether it's my health records, whether it's my followers online. And that kind of democratic technology, it's going to touch every part of us. It's going to touch our money. It's going to touch our governance. It's going to open whole new doorways. And it is totally reliant on a new technology called, well, I say new, relatively new, something called a blockchain network. Now, at this point, Alex, I just want to ask you, have I given a good summary of the history of the opportunity, the problem, and where we are now, and set us up to start talking about the significance of blockchains and how they make this future internet possible? Did I miss anything? Do you have anything you want to add?
I would just say it again succinctly, just to help summarize a little bit. So,
Please.
starting off, we are. Let me here. We're dealing with a new kind of digitization here. And what I mean by that is that money has been digital for 50 plus years at this point. There's nothing new about digital money. The problem with digital property without the benefits of blockchain is that one piece of digital property is pretty much exactly the same as someone else's. If Evan posts a picture that he took on his Instagram and I'm like, that's dope, and I download it and then I post it, and then 15 of my friends are all like, that's cool, and they download it and they post it. All of a sudden now Evan's got his work cut out for him to prove that it was his. And sure, there's some timestamps on Instagram posts or something like that. But nothing says that he didn't just like beat me to the punch and post it, right? There's like no way to prove. And so all of a sudden we're in this conundrum of how do we know who's telling the truth, or how do we know which piece of digital property is the real one, quote unquote. And that's kind of where blockchain comes in, that in our lives, we are becoming increasingly more and more and more digitized. More and more of our stuff is moving online. More and more things are becoming digital. I don't think that, except for like my house utilities, pretty much everything is, paperless, e-billing, email-based, internet-based, digital, whatever. The idea of blockchain here, in my opinion, the most impactful piece of it is that for the first time, we are able to prove by using a blockchain, which is something we'll get into in a little bit, that something digital can be unique and it can be the real one. So if Evan had minted his picture as an NFT first, and then I came along and I was like, that's dope, steal, he would have way more evidence to suggest that his was the real one because his was minted first. That timestamp is not tamperable. It is on the blockchain. It's there forever. And there's a whole lot of different ways that you can apply this idea to other digital stuff. Pictures are an easy one to understand, and that's why the NFT industry largely has just been JPEG trading, because it's an easy visual, and it's something that lots of people can relate to. So,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I think
this sets me up perfectly for where I want to go. I have some notes for this part, so I might read a little bit. Stephanie asking some good questions, and I think Stephanie is I feel good about that. Stephanie, stay with us for a second. Alex is pointing out that, so where we are now, because she referenced MySpace, where we are now is like democratized publishing. But where we are going is democratized ownership, where anyone can become a stakeholder. You still have to play by MySpace rules. Go ahead.
What's Alex. This from? What is it from? What you're reading right now?
These are notes that I've made.
Okay, sweet. I didn't know if you were reading.
These are some notes that I've made, and Alex and I. This is another thing. Alex and I are both gonna, in the second half of the show, Alex is gonna lead a segment on resources, and we'll pepper in some good things that you can come back to if you have questions. And of course, also, we're gonna post this on YouTube. We want this to be something you watch again and again, or that leads you to the Discord where we can just talk about it back and forth. Tough to learn from a lecture, easy to learn from lots of different places, right? Okay, but we've been talking about this new internet, and it goes by a few names. It goes by crypto. Some people call it Web3. We've used that word implying it's a third era of the internet. And I generally now try to stick to blockchain or blockchain networks. And it doesn't matter what name you prefer. The core technology of blockchain presents unique advantages. A lot of people will describe blockchain as a ledger, a shared, public, immutable, which is something Alex said, meaning unchangeable ledger. But I was telling Alex last night, one of my teachers, Chris Dixon, describes blockchains as a new type of computer. It is a machine that stores information and can act on it with autonomy by itself. And this is significant because unlike MySpace or Facebook, where at some point there is like an individual or entity that controls a computer, they control their servers and allow you to access it. They control their cloud. A cloud is just someone else's computer. Blockchains invert this kind of power relationship. It doesn't matter if you own the hardware anymore with a blockchain, because with blockchains, software, a set of rules, of contracts, they govern an entire network of hardware devices. I might own a hardware device like a computer. Alex might own one. Anybody here watching could own one on, say, the Bitcoin network or the Ethereum network. But instead of us owning the hardware and making the decisions, it is the network, all of us and none of us, owning this piece of software that all of our computers are subject to agreeing to. And this matters because for the first time ever now, these rules in software can make strong commitments to users. You're not just relying on Facebook to do what they say they're going to do. If Facebook created a cryptocurrency token and made 1 million of them and said there will only ever be 1 million of them, and this is how you earn them, and then 10 years from now their shareholders decide, well, we want to add 1 million more tokens, it's up to them to do it. We are trusting them, relying on them. But on a blockchain, if we codify the software rules that there will only ever be 1 million tokens, then nobody anywhere can change that structure. And I think that leads us to a natural question of, so what? So what does it matter? What problems does this actually solve? This ability for blockchain networks to make commitments will allow new networks, new types of networks to be created that just weren't possible in the earlier internet. They can connect people in social networks while empowering the users instead of the owners who are corporate interests. They can enable new forms of monetizable media, interoperable digital worlds and technology, artificial intelligence products that compensate instead of consume creators, and so many more. Honestly, it's like taking the social benefits of Web 1, that open internet,
So
and combining them with that Web 2 where we can all do stuff together. Go ahead, Alex.
what's up, Crest? It is Monday. We're here 4 days a week now. um, I just
blew
wanted
the good Crest's mind.
just to nutshell what Evan has been talking about here.
Yeah, thank you.
In the world of Web 1, so we're slapping the number 3 after Web now and using it to refer to the next generation of the internet. You can think about it similar to, the progression from 3G to 4G to 5G, right? Like this is the next big thing in the internet, right? Really, all it is, first of all, Web3 is kind of a marketing term. Sorry. Am I back?
You're back, brother. You're back.
That was the caseworker. 1 second.
Oh, no, you're fine.
So
it's a marketing term.
Web3 is kind of a marketing term, okay? And it's used to encapsulate anything and everything blockchain related. Web 1 is the first iteration of the internet, and that is largely referred to as read-only. Information could be published from a provider, and you could look at it, and you could intake it. And that's kind of where it stopped. Move to Web 2, and that is largely what is accepted as the broader internet right now, where not only can you read, but you can also write, and then you can send. So a couple layers were added to the reading. So now, instead of just Evan being able to put up a thing and me, the user of the internet, look at the thing and get it, I can now reply to the thing. I can write my own thing and put it there. Majestic, you're more than welcome to leave comments, but we're not bringing anyone up right at this moment. So Web 2, adding, writing, and sharing, okay? The difference here, the thing that Web 3 is stepping in to hopefully solve, is the problem of ownership and the problem of like what I would call aggressive extraction. So right now, if you take an internet platform like TikTok or Twitter or any of them, Facebook, any of these big things, you have the freedom and the power to contribute content or writing or whatever. And this could be Tumblr, this is Etsy, this is literally all of them. Every platform is the same. The data that you put there supports their business model, okay? Twitter has no course to get all of the advertising revenue that they get if they don't have as many million users as they have using the platform all day, every day. If those users leave, all of the value of that network is gone. The problem with Web 2 is that all of the value generated by the users doing stuff is kept by the big company that owns the platform. And at this point, we're all a little sick and tired of it.
And there's no incentive for them to share it. I would say, just as a quick interjection, TikTok is my favorite example. They've opened a creator fund. A lot of people are torn about it because while now they're paying creators, they're only giving about 1% of any revenue to the people who make their platform what it is. Outrageous.
Yeah, and that is a problem. There are creator programs on different networks. YouTube notoriously is the best one, but even still, if you talk to someone whose income is reliant on YouTube, they'll tell you that it's an ever. Actually, Anthony Padilla, who's a big YouTuber, just had a little piece about it semi-recently where he was talking about the feeling of like chasing the algorithm, the feeling of living in this constant state of anxiety, like, am I going to have to completely re-rack my whole business model this morning? I'm not getting a heads up that this is changing. You could make the argument that he's kind of gotten to the point of escape velocity, that he's got enough people interested in him that, he has a little bit of wiggle room, but not every YouTuber is Anthony Padilla level, right? Like I don't know if you grew up with Smosh like I did, but right, like he's been playing the game for a long time. He is undoubtedly an expert at using that platform. But most of us, like take me for example, I'm itty bitty baby creator. You know, next to those big guys like that, I'm very reliant on the algorithm treating me favorably. So,
Yeah.
you know, if I take 2 days off of Twitter, I'm screwed. I have to fight to get my standing back and to get the good graces of the algorithm back. And I'll never see a penny probably for the potential value that I generate. And I have no idea how much value I generate for the company, you know, by getting, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000 impressions on Twitter every month. I don't know what that translates to, but I know that it equals zero for me. And that's kind of annoying because it takes a lot of time. So the idea here, to summarize, of Web3 is just letting you get a piece of the pie. So if we went from read only to read, write, share, now we're going to read, write, share, own. And we've never been able to own anything digital before. Okay? And we are at the point where buying movies, buying video games, you're just downloading something and the people who provided it to you are allowing you to now access it. But it could be revoked. It could be turned off.
Yeah.
You could lose the account that you bought it on, and because of anti-piracy laws, it's gone forever. That kind of stuff. So what we're here to talk about is the ownership layer and why that matters to you and why you should care about it.
So I have just one more sort of bit on this to pitch to people to unpack for them. I really like this because you're getting, you know, kind of a two explanations of, you know, here's how it works. And again, I want to emphasize this is an inversion. Whereas before, YouTube owned the platform, they leased to you or allowed you to use. Disney owns the movie, they're allowing you to borrow or rent. Now we are creating software protocols that say essentially, hey, this thing is digital. It doesn't cost us more to make another one. But if you want to own it, here's your copy that you own outright. It comes with, you know, all the benefits of ownership. No one can take it away. Big time things. The most notorious example of this technology right now is monetary, is Bitcoin. Yes.
I don't mean to derail you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who is hanging out and chatting and liking.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
it's really cool. It's very helpful. Speaking of algorithm deities to appease, every time, if you guys are getting any kind of value out of this, every time you throw a few taps on the screen and send those likes, it helps kind of promote and boost the show. So that is the single greatest thing that you guys can contribute and give to us if you find that this is any sort of informative or valuable. And if you have feedback, let us know because this is kind of a new format. We're trying some new stuff. We're going to be here way more often. So just wanted to throw out a quick thank you to everyone who's sending us all of these likes and everyone who's hanging out and watching.
Thank you. Yeah, no need to. The gifts are cute and fun. You don't have to spend any money on this. The tap the screen, as silly as it is, it really does make a difference, and it lets people know that this is valuable content. And you know what I want to emphasize. We had Kuma. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. Kuma was talking about post scarcity. The reason I personally am interested in this, and we'll get into this more later on, but the brief tag, and Alex, I know you have your reasons here too, is this is an opportunity to help us transition to solve some of the biggest problems in the world: climate change, hunger, corrupt governments, to empower the people we call the faceless many to rise up and write a better future. And so, though right now, the most notorious use case of blockchain is like speculation and money. I want to emphasize this to you, right? There's sort of always been a cultural divide around tech innovation, where when there's a new tech, if you were talking about it in ways that seemed crazy, you were probably closer to being right than somebody who was just using it to do something old again. We saw it with, you know, the railroad boom in the 1800s, the dot-com bubble, the 1990s with your pets.com or whatever. There are all these speculators when a new technology comes, but there are also people who are building things. And that same cultural divide exists in blockchain, in crypto, in Web3. You've got what you might call the casino over here. People doing all kinds of, you know, weird speculative things. And then you've got other people who are focused on kind of the computer of it. These people are often more quiet. They are often talking about less flashy, less get rich quick, but these are the people building the kinds of things that will enable a transition so that this technology can help us facilitate governance, can help us facilitate models of ownership, public and private, that will help us transition to a world where our infrastructure, instead of being extractive, instead of being top down, instead of incentivizing competition, will help us to incentivize cooperation, help us to move beyond the myth of scarcity. The kind of last thing I want to say about where this is taking us in the future is that tokens, pieces of data stored on blockchain computers, networks, they can be anything. They are programmable. They give a tangible form to intangible things the same way words do, the same way written words, spoken words, the same way, notes, dollar bills represent something that doesn't physically exist. And more than money, tokens and non-fungible tokens are incentives that we can design to give life to different values, to help humans coordinate at scale and make meaning together. It's an incredible opportunity for us. And so I feel like, if you remember nothing else from today, just remember the internet is the internet, but it's existed in three simple phases: the phase where you could just read stuff, the phase where you could read and write stuff, and now the phase where you can read, write, and own information. It is powered by an inversion of the software hardware cycle. Now, software can control hardware, and we can remove the intermediaries, the entities, and individuals who have, for now, controlled our access to those things by leveraging the power of networks that all of us and none of us own. They're called blockchains. In the future, we're going to get into some examples of it, some tokens, non-fungible tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and beyond money use cases. But I feel like that maybe is a good place. We've talked a lot. I want to kick it back to you, Alex, and see, how do you want to wrap this up? And then we're going to start talking about other resources we have learned from that you can learn from. We'd love to answer some questions. I know people are talking in the chat. What are you thinking, Alex? How's it going for you?
No, I think I was just gonna reply to a couple of thoughts and stuff that we had here. Evan touched on it really briefly, and we will definitely get to a point where we talk about the speculative nature of Web3 and stuff. 0% opposed to all of it. Evan and I think you'll find that some of our hot takes are like the absence of heat in the take.
They're cold
because,
baby.
Like meme coins are a polarizing subject in and around crypto, right? You either love them or you hate them. Except for, I feel like our opinion on it is that they serve a purpose. I have zero issue with them existing. I think that the fact that they do exist is just a mark of like internet culture permeating internet culture, which is exactly what you should expect the internet to do. Memes are timeless. I love memes. All we want to see is like proper representation of what it is. Don't sell me the newest vegetable themed dog coin as a substitute for my 401k. Sell it to me as
you don't want a pork token to retire on.
I mean, hey man, if baby pork doge is what retires me, fantastic. But the odds of that happening are low. And it's way more likely that what it is a fun casino game that you can play if you feel so inclined to gamble and play a casino game. I fully imagine that Evan and I will have multiple days talking about meme coins and stuff. I am yapping because it's a talk show and it's my show and I talk on it because that's what you do.
Yeah, but CFM, if you have thoughts on the format and would like to see us give each other 90 minutes of uninterrupted, speechless eye contact.
Yes.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it.
We could reschedule one of the days with no yapping where Evan and I just stare straight into the camera lens at you.
Hot take, I actually think we would get about 1 million viewers and we probably would gift through the roof if we did that. As weird as that sounds.
my inability to keep a straight face through absolutely anything would be the downfall of that. It would be Evan staring and me cracking up.
Yeah,
It
it'd
would
be
be
fun.
blue steel and cracking up. Um, yeah, no, people get super uncomfortable with silence, especially on a live stream. That's like one of the first things I ever heard. 'Cause I started Twitch streaming like years ago as my
Yeah.
intro to content creation, and that was the first thing I had. It was just like, it was like I think I was playing a game and I was focusing really hard on the game, and someone was like, "Talk," and I was just like, it was the funniest, weirdest. I had like maybe 2 or 3 viewers, right? It was like first or second Twitch stream ever on someone who had never created a single piece of content before. It was hilarious.
I
Um,
love the internet, man. So you're saying though, it's
yeah.
about labeling things appropriately. If you want to
Yes.
have a casino. But
One of
now,
the.
people get the right of transparency. They get to see what you're
Yeah.
doing and
Yes.
participate or not.
Well, some of the big stuff that Evan and I will absolutely cover repeatedly, beat it into the ground forever for the entire lifetime of this show is that the nature of scams in the crypto space are really aggressive. Okay, there's a lot of scams, tons of them. There's a few reasons for that. The biggest reason is that it's new technology and lots of people still have to learn how it works, which means that your ability to lie or trick somebody with new tech is way easier. Okay. Phishing scams through email still work. They still do them because they still get paid by poor, unsuspecting phishing victims. However, it's a lot harder than it is to convince someone that their shitcoin is worth $1 million than it is to trick them with their email because email's been around longer. So it is important, even if you have no intention of like getting into this and becoming the Web3 guy or girl in your house, and you don't want to be the weird crypto person. None of that is necessary, but you should still have a basic understanding of how it works, just because it is so easy to be stolen from in this new technology world. And the more this grows, the more it's going to touch your life, whether you want it to or not. And the possibility that you get stolen from just goes up. So it's worth learning a little bit.
I want to zoom in on a comment that Stephanie made here saying the issue I have with digital currency is the fact that glitches and crashes happen. This is a two-part comment
Great.
response. The first one is, as Alex said a couple minutes ago, everything. It's important for us to understand the distinction between digital and tokenized. We'll unpack tokens more in a bit later on, all this week, but we have been using digital money since largely uh, the 1900s early on,
Yeah.
when banks create
50
money.
plus years ago.
They don't print more money when they issue you a loan. They have the power to record on their ledger a number which puts money into the circulating supply, but that money doesn't physically exist. Your bank does not hold a green paper dollar for every dollar on every account in their ledger. Most of it is digital. Your credit card, your checkbook, all the money we give to, Kroger at the checkout is just a digital promise to pay. It's debt that is created and destroyed and mostly never physically exists in the world. The distinction between digital money and digital tokenized money is two things. The first one is with something like a decentralized cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, where there is a protocol that we can all access but none of us owns, is that those tokens can't be created or destroyed at the will of one person. The second thing is, like digital currency, though they don't physically exist, because all of us keep a copy of the computer's record when we participate in the network, if the internet were to totally go down, or if I wanted to send Alex some Bitcoin without using the network's computer, like digitally, we could physically transact Bitcoin just by doing math problems. If I know his Bitcoin address and he knows mine, and we know the algorithm, it's a little complex, but we could use a calculator to send each other Bitcoin in such a way that when the internet was restored, if it had gone down, all the computers on it would be able to check the transactions that had happened in the meantime and rebuild a digital copy of the ledger and then keep it going digitally. That's not something your bank can say. And also, if the internet went down and you couldn't access the Bitcoin network on a computer or smartphone, you would have much bigger problems. In terms of money, your bank would be in big time trouble. Way bigger problem than I can't spend my Bitcoin. But that's also why something like Bitcoin would be important to have in a time like that, because I could pay Alex using our keys without relying on a bank in the apocalypse if we needed to.
So I just because I was curious, Evan.
Yeah.
Do you know what year the very first electronic payment happened?
No, I don't. I'm gonna
Because
guess.
it blew my mind.
Okay. The fact that it blew your mind makes me want to say 1920. Earlier or later?
Earlier, way earlier.
1890.
More.
What?
Yeah.
1850?
All right, you want to look to 1870.
Okay, give me the details. That's nuts.
Yeah.
It was a telegram?
154 years ago was the first electronic payment executed by Western Union when they debuted the electronic fund transfer in 1871.
Wow. How did it work?
So I'd have to dig a little farther to get like the specifics on that. But then from the 1870s all the way until the late 1960s, payments slowly went through a transformation. But as early as 1910, the American Federal Reserve was using the telegraph to transfer money.
Yeah.
And then in the 1950s, Diners Club International was the first independent credit card company, followed very closely by American Express. And then into the 1970s is when it became it became much more commonplace. And that's when ACH transfers were created.
Yeah,
But
I wasn't alive then, but I have done the research to look up some of the commercials and the media at that time. Have you seen, there was a great news segment, I don't remember who shared it with me here on TikTok, of some reporter just going around town when credit cards became a thing. And I think I remember them talking to a guy at Burger King, and he was like, I ain't never going to use that credit card. You know, it was recent. It was like
yeah,
1980, 1990 or something. And, just look at us now.
yeah. Well, I mean, you can look at so many examples through technological history of that mentality being turned on its head, right? Like, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I vividly remember saying to myself as a conscious adult human being or a near adult human being making the decision for myself, I'll never have a cell phone that doesn't have buttons, you know? Like only touchscreen, that would be so obnoxious. What if you accidentally tap it? And, now I don't even know if they make a phone anymore that's, not a gimmick that has all of the buttons with T9 and whatever,
Tim, my partner is a huge BlackBerry stan. She says, not all the time, but like she misses her BlackBerry. She
Well,
loves
listen,
that thing.
I will say in Kim's defense here, that there is a reason that government officials still to this day use BlackBerry for like things that they need to
Isn't
be
it highly
more.
secure?
It's much more secure than the stuff we do now.
Now, Alex, I know we're going to get into resources. I know we want to take some questions from the audience. We've got about 30 minutes left in the show, and we're happy to stay a little extra. I want to do two things. The first thing is that I want to tell you, wait a second, folks. Before you type, before you chat, I need you to take this secret word. If you missed it at the beginning of the show, we are going to give you a gift for watching every week. If you've never owned a digital tokenized asset before, then this is your chance. We are giving you your very own non-fungible token, highly collectible, highly valuable, featuring this banging piece of art to commemorate your attendance at the Rise Up morning show. All you're going to do is you're going to compile the secret word throughout the week. You're going to take it to our Discord, discord.gg/the-many. And in the Bot Hub channel, you'll click the POAP button and type in your secret word, put together with all the secret words from the week. No capital letters, no spaces. The secret word for today is Telegram. Telegram. Put it together with the other secret words you're going to get throughout the week. And on Thursday, you can combine them into a secret phrase. We'll show you how to do it. We'll do a walkthrough in case you've never used Discord before, in case you've never claimed a POAP before. You don't need to know anything about Web3. You don't need to have any Bitcoin, anything like that. You, yes, you, even you can have your very own NFT from the Rise Up Morning Show. So, my friends, with that in mind, I think we'll be, did I say? If I haven't said it again, we'll be back again tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. UTC, all week, Monday through Thursday. We'd love for you to tune in. And these episodes, I'm going to put this up on YouTube today so that you can share them with your friends. High compliments for us, like Alex said a second ago. Liking by tapping the screen, huge. Sharing it with a friend, oh my gosh, even bigger. Jumping in the Discord so you can keep the conversation going. What do we owe you? Kind of thing. And so we appreciate you for being here and supporting the show.
I think that this, just before we get into the resources, this conversation of physical versus digital.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly for me why blockchain that's why it makes sense. Because I don't necessarily disagree. There's like an inherent feeling of security, even if it's not super founded, that if I'm holding the money in my hand, like if I'm holding the cash in my hand,
yeah,
that it's more secure. And in some forms it is, like if I'm doing like tap to pay, Apple Pay or whatever, right? And my phone dies, my access to my money is now cut off.
Right.
But the cash in my wallet does not have a battery. So that is inherently, in that capacity, more secure. However, the cash, we all know that like that piece of paper doesn't do anything for anybody, right? Like its value is reliant on the systems all being in place working. Now, let's say that you have cash, right? Most businesses, I've seen a lot lately that don't even take it, right? It's all smartphone related with a square. You got to swipe a thing, chip to pay, whatever. There are downsides to it as well. If my house gets flooded, or something horrible happens, it burns down, or I'm in the way of a hurricane or some sort of natural disaster, right? And I'm keeping my cash in my house, and it gets destroyed. I had someone come into the rescue not that long ago who was about to travel, and they took their cash for their travel because they liked to travel with a wad of cash in addition to whatever. And they set it on the table and went to the bathroom, and one of their dogs ate $4,000 in cash. It's gone forever. It's just gone. But if my dog ate my phone, or destroyed it, that money is not gone forever. It's a different thing. The last thing I'll say about this is that in the world of Web3, there's a term that you're going to hear thrown around a lot by a lot of people, usually meant to invoke fear. That is CBDC, or central bank digital currency. It's the idea here, the way crypto people usually talk about it, that the government is going to build a private blockchain and host our money system on it. And you don't want that. That's terrifying, because in that world, they can, as they'll say, China you and cut off access to your money, censor what you can do with it, force you to spend it by a certain date, or else they'll make it expire, all kinds of stuff, be able to track, trace, whatever. The thing that always kills me is that they never mention that they can do that right now with the current money system. Do you think if the US government wanted to, they could remove access to all of our checking accounts? Because they could. They control the money supply. It is a central bank digital currency right now. If they wanted to tell you that you're no longer allowed to spend money on movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. The same way that they can forcibly impose a tax on something that they would like to tax for whatever reason. cigarettes, gas, alcohol, you name it, they can. Uh, Absolutely nothing in that regard would change with central bank digital currency, except honestly that we would have more verifiable proof that they're doing it because it
Yeah.
was on the blockchain.
And it
And
would
if we
honestly,
wanted
in
to,
many ways, be easier for them to, because you can't hide money under your mattress. One of the things we didn't touch on is that, a blockchain is a transparent record. A private blockchain like that, meaning that they entirely control, they would have even more ability to see and control everything. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Alex. I just wanted to add that context. Um,
no, that's good.
can I add one more
That's
thing, if I've got you
yes,
paused?
please, please.
Is that not only is, Alex makes a great case for the tyranny of the system now, and how we can subvert that, funnily enough. It, it makes a bigger case for not physical money necessarily, but for a global, permissionless, decentralized, tokenized currency. Wow, Evan, word salad. What's that mean? A currency like Bitcoin, for example, is accessed by everyone, could be anybody's, owned by no one. Nobody can censor it. The government can legislate all day long and say your Bitcoin is illegal. What are they going to do? They're going to look me up on the blockchain and say 0x123456 sent Bitcoin to 0x23579. Like, what are they going to do? Shut the Bitcoin network down? The Bitcoin network exists on thousands of computers all over the world, mostly which are anonymous. So it's just an impossibly tough problem to solve. And the more they try to impose a digital currency that they control, the more they reinforce people's need and desire for a currency that nobody owns or controls, especially as the world becomes more and more connected. As long as I have a need to send money to someone in a country like China, and as long as they have a government that is interested in censoring them, that will, ironically perhaps, multiply the need for this thing. And the last thing I want to say is I like the physical touch too, but your dog can't eat your Bitcoin. It doesn't weigh 400 pounds like the gold you might have to take with you in the apocalypse. And all you need to know is what's your private key, which more and more is becoming easier for people to remember like a password. And if you know that, you can send that information, whether it's money, health, anything, anywhere, anytime. I mean, hugely mobile, big time stuff. Trump would say it's bigly important.
Huge.
Huge. Believe me, the best. I'm honestly excited for 10 months of Trump impersonations coming up. I have to say, I do appreciate a good Trump impersonation.
There's some good ones.
What do you think, man?
Yep.
Should we give them some more resources? We've shared a lot with you guys today. Alex always says learning about blockchain can be like drinking from a fire hose. And to borrow another one of Alex's phrases, you don't need to be an expert to start learning about, using, or understanding this stuff to benefit from it. So, what are we going to share with them, Alex? You got some resources?
Yeah, no, I always equate it to people by saying that you don't need to be an auto mechanic to drive your car to the grocery store. The same way that you don't need to be a computer engineer to basically and fundamentally benefit from any of this stuff. Certainly doesn't hurt. You can learn about it if you want to, but don't feel like you have to, or you have no chance of participating in any of it if you don't go get a master's degree in computer engineering. So what I would like to do really quick
Hang
here.
on, and let me emphasize one last thing. I just want to say again that you're going to scroll through TikTok and you are going to see so many people talking about cryptocurrency, talking about Bitcoin, XRP, whatever. They are mostly going to be talking about it at a per currency level. They're mostly going to be telling you to buy it. And they are mostly not going to give you the kinds of tools to help you if you want to become a mechanic. They're like people standing at a racetrack saying, hey, come, you have a car? Do you want to race a car? It's a lot of fun. We are here. Not that we have a monopoly on the truth, not that we're the best, not that we know the most, because we don't. But first of all, we're willing to say that and admit that we don't know some things. which is a big green flag. Let me tell you what, I like that about Alex. He likes that about me. We like it about each other. And the other thing is, the people who are racing those cars, some of them are going to get wrecked. Most of them are just circling around on a track. Some of them might get rich. But if you are seeking to understand maybe a little bit about how the car works, a little bit about what it can do beyond racing, you are setting yourself up, my friend, to capitalize when gas stations become a thing and highways become a thing and ambulances become a thing. This is the way. If what you want is just to get rich, this is the way to do it. Okay? So don't let our, humble approach fool you.
I was
guys
always
about to
tell
drop some
people,
knowledge on you that your other TikTok friends, they're gonna they don't have it.
well, it's a tactic, you can obfuscate the danger of this type of message that you put out if you're able to hold up a few people who have made a lot of money doing something, because then anyone who didn't do it, it becomes their fault. You screwed up. It doesn't matter that for every one person who makes $1 million doing this, there's 1 million people who lose all of their money. That doesn't matter. What matters is that one guy who made $1 million gets to yell at you and is really loud, and is able to tell you like, well, you probably weren't following me early enough. You didn't pay close enough attention. You didn't buy my course. You didn't whatever. There's a lot of flipping it and making it your fault for not being a crushing success in a world where that person is probably also not a crushing success. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like if people took nothing else from this, it's that you need to be critical, like hypercritical of the type of content that you consume, especially when it is related to money, because lots of predatory people create money-based content, because it's really easy to lure people in, especially at a time now when it is harder than it has been in the past to get enough, keep enough, and have enough money to basically live and survive. It's really easy to send that like fear-based message that like, hey, your retirement is screwed. Luckily for you, I'm here to save the day. All you have to do is follow me closely and pay me $100 a month for my course. And all of a sudden you will join the promised land. And if you don't, it's your fault. Remember that, not mine.
Alex, you told me the other day about a creator that I have seen who
Yep.
You said $100 for access to their Discord. And honestly, like,
that was the sale price.
Oh my God. Like, it's cute, get your bag and everything, but Alex said obfuscate. I would quote Bruce Lee to say it's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't focus on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. In this case, it's a finger pointing to the moose.
Yeah.
That's my moose.
Yeah. No, it took me less than 30 seconds to get blocked by that particular creator. So, take that for what it's worth. All right. So I would like to share just a couple of my go-to resources to learn things about Web3 and blockchain and crypto. All of these are completely free. Not only are they free, you don't even need to make a free account with anybody to read any of it.
Love it.
There's some really, really good ones. Now, the caveat here is that if you would like to go deeper, there are tons of legitimately good courses that you can take. If my mom happens to be in the audience, because oftentimes she is.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Mom. There are a couple courses on platforms like Udemy that you can pay for that will teach you something specific. I would recommend those way before I would recommend finding a TikToker and paying them any kind of money for a course, because I promise you that anyone on TikTok selling you a course about this got all of the information that they put into that course for free. Now, that's not to say that there is not value in paying someone who went through and combed through and compiled a bunch of information and presents it to you in like a wonderful, easy to understand bundle. But you do not need to, and I recommend that you at least start with the free stuff to see if this is something you even have the interest in going further into. Because you can learn everything that you need to know about all of this 100% for free. So with that disclaimer out of the way, the first thing that I would like to recommend is coinbase.com/learn. That is that's the link. Coinbase, if you're unfamiliar, is one of the biggest, most widely reputable cryptocurrency exchanges. But one thing that they do really well is they have a great educational resource on their website. They have an informational, free educational blog, basically, with a bunch of different posts. If you go to coinbase.com/learn, by the way, none of these are sponsored, but they totally could be. So we are, this advertisement that I'm about to give all of these platforms, 100% for sale. If they would like to pay me. I'll talk about them for free, but I'd prefer it if they paid me. So there's a ton of really good stuff there. Lots of beginner friendly stuff, lots of basic stuff. If you just scroll on that, the thing I like is that it's like really easy to digest the stuff that they have here. It's really nicely segmented and broken up. So you can go as simple as what is Bitcoin, what is cryptocurrency, all the way to understanding and deciphering the FUD and hype cycle. Not falling victim to FOMO. How does DeFi work? All of this kind of stuff. Setting up a wallet. There are tons and tons and tons. Perfect. There's my mom.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, Mom. I don't know if you remember the title of the course that you took, but I know that it was a pretty good one, and it was pretty in depth, if I remember correctly. If you remember the title, you can throw it in the chat there. Okay, coinbase.com/learn. It's my first stop. You'll get a lot of what you need to know to have a basic understanding of this stuff right from there. It is totally free. You do not need an account. You don't need to sign into anything. You can just go right there for free and read.
Nice.
The next one is another big platform that a lot of people have probably heard of that has a lot of really good stuff. Called NerdWallet. So if you were to go to NerdWallet and just search cryptocurrency basics, you will find a pretty good breakdown with a lot of stuff. It's just like a really lengthy article, but I have referenced it multiple times, and I send a lot of people there just to get like a quick overview. The information here, a lot of it, if not all of it, you can get from Coinbase's Learn platform. This is just a little bit different format, and some people like NerdWallet more. So you might feel more inclined to read something from a more like traditional financial page, not necessarily one that exclusively does crypto, because bias is inherent in all of the things that any human being writes. And obviously Coinbase is incentivized to paint crypto in a good light because they want you to buy crypto through their platform. So that's one of the reasons that I recommend going outside of crypto platforms for the learning, just because. If reading giant articles and all of these informational pages is not your favorite way to learn, there's a couple YouTube channels that do a very, very good job. One above all others that I have referred to and sent people to time and time and time again, who unfortunately is not super active anymore. But every now and then, and the documentation that this creator has is extensive. It's just Whiteboard Crypto. Exactly as
excellent account.
Yeah, Whiteboard Crypto. They're pushing a million subscribers, over 100 videos. Really, really good breakdowns of the basics of technology, a number of significant projects, great format to the videos, super well explained. I've learned a lot. If I'm trying to learn about something new in crypto, I go to Whiteboard first to see if he's got a video about it, because it's just the best. Next. And finally, the last one I'll give you for today. There are tons more, of course. But there is a service called MIT OpenCourseWare. This is basically this incredible thing that exists that blows my mind that more people don't talk about regularly, where you can take a tremendous number of MIT courses and lectures completely for free, no syllabus, at your own pace, in the comfort of your own home, exactly as often or as hardcore as you want. And MIT actually sponsored the teaching of a course all about cryptocurrency and blockchain that was wonderful, and it was taught by none other than Gary Gensler. For context, he taught the course in 2017 or 18 before he was the head of the SEC, and back at a time when all of us were very excited to hear that he was going to be the SEC secretary because of how he taught this course. It remains to this day, despite how I may feel about Gary's personal, or how I may personally feel about Gary's antics now. His villain origin story now. There was a time when he taught a phenomenal course at MIT about blockchain technology. He goes through history of currency and money, formulation of new digital currencies, tokenizing currency. He talks about Bitcoin a lot. It is a phenomenal course. There's like 20 plus hours of lecture. You can see all of it in two places. You can just Google MIT OpenCourseWare and you'll go right to the homepage, hosted by MIT, where you can just search. If you just search MIT OpenCourseWare blockchain, you will find it in two places. One, YouTube. All of the lectures are on YouTube on MIT OpenCourseWare's YouTube page. They're all free. There's no ads. It's awesome. And then on MIT's website itself, you can find the whole lecture there, all of the lecture videos and all of the written assignments from the course as well. I recommend it. I have personally taken it 2 times and then cherry picked stuff out of it repeatedly after that. The very first video that I ever posted on TikTok that went any kind of viral was just sharing this as a resource. Cannot recommend it highly enough. It's a phenomenal course. And I think that it kind of helps put in perspective maybe some of the reasons that Gary feels the way that he does about the stuff now. Because you can tell that I feel like Gary's probably a Bitcoin maxi, but he's too scared to say it, based on how he taught this course. And I think he just hates every other cryptocurrency.
And honestly, kind of in Ethereum, I came away from it thinking that he was big on ETH too.
Yeah, hard to say. Yeah, especially since he has been very hesitant to go down the ETH as a security rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's interesting, makes me think that he's overcompensating by an inherent bias by just being the worst of all time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's a lot of inside baseball we'll get into later for certain.
Yeah. Coinbase Learn, MIT OpenCourseWare, NerdWallet as the traditional finance Web2 platform that has also talked about it, and then the Whiteboard Crypto YouTube channel.
Now, we are going to post all these links in our Discord at discord.gg/themany. It's not just me and Alex there. It's a bunch of our super smart, super awesome friends from all over the world who have been spending their time, the last decade or so learning about this stuff, and who are going to help you if you have a question, get up to speed. We're friendly. We have cookies. We would love to see you there. And I will share some links there too. I just want to quickly touch on a couple of links. I am working on, as Alex said, getting some stuff together that we can pitch to people to sponsor the show so that you can benefit. And one of those things that we want to do to help you help the show is I just became an Amazon affiliate. Not that I want to help Amazon at all, but there are a couple of these resources that we may recommend that you can buy that we have used personally, and if we're going to recommend them to you, we will share affiliate links so you can help us. And if you have products, services, resources that you want to share, let's do it in the Discord, and we can reach out to those people about sponsoring the show. Alex and I are talking about we'd love to do giveaways of a free membership to Udemy or a free cold storage wallet, any number of things, even if they're not crypto related, that would benefit you. That matters to us. So please let us know what those things are. And like Alex said, the best way to support the show right now is coming here, hanging out with us, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. UTC, Monday through Thursday. We're expanding the format to slow things down, dive a little deeper. You can catch our episodes as replays on YouTube at Faceless Labs, faceless_labs. You can share this with a friend. You can tap the screen to give us some likes. And of course, join the community, the conversation in the Discord. We're not going to charge you $100 a month to do that. And if you really do want to spend some money to support us that goes to our bottom line, you could send us a Patreon tip or do Venmo or whatever. But I'll tell you what you could do that's a lot of fun is you could buy one of these Rise Up Morning Show mugs and drink your coffee in style, like me and Alex. You can find the links to that in my profile. Look at Alex right there, right? Mine is a little darker. You can't see it as well, especially with my ring light glare. But mine's got the rainbow vomit. And yes, you can have your very own. I think I'm pretty well met for today. I definitely want to say to anybody who's watching, as a if you have questions about this, don't hesitate to join us in that Discord. Don't hesitate to watch the recap on YouTube and come back here tomorrow. If you can't make it tomorrow, that's okay. You can get the secret word from watching the replay. You can get the information from watching the replay. Tomorrow, we're going to take what we've learned today about the future of the internet, and we're going to talk a little more about how you get there. How do you access this new internet? We're going to unpack some of the key terms and definitions, and we're going to look at two prominent use cases. Bitcoin, the blockchain network, Ethereum, the blockchain network, and we're going to talk a little more about what tokens, what non-fungible tokens, what information on a blockchain, Web3, the future internet looks like and how you can get there. So the ask I have for you is if you're like Jim and you want to see us do some deep dives, if you've got a particular question about a particular product, something that's really confusing you, please leave it for us in Discord. We will watch for it there. We would be glad to see it here. If you can't get to the Discord, you can leave a comment on any of our videos. And as we progress this week, we're going to unpack your specific questions. We're glad to look at projects that you talk about. And then on Thursday, we'll kind of look to the future. We're going to say, now that we've got a good understanding of what this internet is looking like now, where's it going to go? What are our predictions? What are, as Alex alluded to earlier, the projects we think it might be helpful for you to get up to speed on so that you can know more than 99% of all the influencers who post a video on TikTok about this token that's going to do 1,000x. Okay? Yep. What do you think, man? Did I forget anything? Did I leave anything out? Does that sound like a good roadmap?
I think so. I forgot something though. So I just put in the general chat in Discord just a list of all of the links I just talked about for the resources, including the one that I forgot, which is super easy. It's just learncrypto.com. It's kind of like the Duolingo of crypto. It's like a really nice UI. I think it's very pleasant to look at. I feel like they did a really great job setting it up. I think that the information there is very comparable to Coinbase's platform. The nice part is that here there are like some little quizzes and stuff that you can take if you feel so inclined. Because Coinbase used to have the Learn and Earn program where you could create an account and take like little quizzes in their new articles, and then they would pay you in the crypto of subject in those little things. They have since gotten rid of most of them. There might be one or two every now and then floating around. I really wish there were more because it was the coolest program of all time. Yeah. Especially because you could, they were like up in bear market times, and then you could like get some little, and it turned into, $20, $30, $40, $50 sometimes after tokens absolutely ripped. It was really cool. It'd give you like $5 of this, $10 of this, $3 of this, whatever. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So Coinbase, if you're listening, fucking bring that shit back.
Just tell it how it is, Alex. Tell it how it is.
Anyway.
Do you have any final thoughts, good jokes, words of wisdom for our audience? Is your dog out there? Your friend?
Oh, he already came by and went, yep. Did see that. No, I was just looking at Christina just let the dogs outside, and our Chihuahua has been outside for about 45 seconds, and so she's dying and screaming at the top of her lungs to come back inside because she's being ripped apart by wild animals or something.
Yeah. Well, you better go rescue her, man.
Yeah. But no, I'm well met. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and
yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you want to hear it one more time. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Got to fix the auto text when it joins.
Woo! Good job, the good crust. Thank you very, very much for that. We will fix that. Guy. I will fix that. I got to update it in my profile too.
Yep, me too.
Oh, I need to become a better administrator. If you want to be somebody's personal assistant and help them organize their lives in all the ways it has turned to chaos, you can call me. Until next time, my friends, we will be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. UTC. Join us in the Discord. If you're not there, what are you doing? Come on, get in there. It's free. It's fun. It's discord.gg/the-many. Like, we are the faceless many. And on that note, my friends, we are the faceless many. So tune in tomorrow, wherever you are, whenever you listen. Get ready to rise up, and we will see you then. Bye for now, everybody.